So when it comes to this whole migrant crisis, I am so over it. And I've been told to just calm down, focus on what you got to do, and you can't help what's going on, and blah, 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 blah. And I've been taking people's advice and following what they're saying and, you know, staying focused and all that stuff. But I can't help but to stay updated on what's going on. And I feel like if you are too close minded, too blinded, not even wanting to know what the heck is going on, it's just like you're part of the problem because it's happening and we can try to pretend that it's not happening and act like it's not affecting us, but it is. So, yeah, I tried, but I'm back with another migrant video. Just a little something something just to keep people updated or something because my gosh, I don't know. Like I feel like I had to take time off of it, and especially watching the news, because if I got to hear another um the migrants, the illegals overwhelming at the border, and this is the highest it's ever been, and close the border. Like, one, if I gotta hear that one more time, like, we know that the border is at a capacity. It's been like that for a while now. Um, we know that things, I don't know if you hear the police cars, but we know that crime is going up and things are getting out of hand. Like, we know that. And what are we going to do about it? That's my whole thing. It's like, what the heck are we going to do about it? Like, there's too much talking and not enough action. Or maybe, you know, there's maybe things going on behind closed doors. And I know the court system and all that is like, you have to play the game a certain way. So I don't know, but it is getting out of hand. Like, the most I know so far, um, especially from watching others' videos, like, I'm glad that there's more people speaking on this, because I know that it's the word is spreading. And at first, if it wasn't for the elders, like people that are in their like 60s and 70s, and even the ones that are in their 50s and 40s, if it wasn't for them standing up to this, I feel like America would be have been like ran through already, because it's like people my age and younger, they're not paying too much attention to this. And I'm a millennial, so I don't see too many people my age really talking about this. It's usually people who are older, and the Gen Zs forget about it. Like, all I hear is TikTok this and TikTok that. But it's just too much. I feel like it was for them, this whole place would have been ran through already with a whole bunch of nonsense going on. Like, so far, where I live in Staten Island, um, there's not that many illegal migrants out here like it is in the other boroughs, because Staten Islanders are not, they don't play when it comes to that, but there are still a few that is here. And the shelter that they done kicked all the elderlies out, like the veteran, the Korean veteran that they kicked out. He's like 95, 96. Kicked them out, put the illegals in, and um our politicians out here, they didn't know that, as far as I know, they had no idea that this place was going to do that. Um so now they're fighting it. But so far, there's like 185 illegals living in this shelter by the beach. And from what I've been told, they don't follow the rules, and they're driving around in cars that have no license plates or fake license plates. And there's been people following these illegals around, like, just seeing like where the heck are they going with no license plates. And my mom, she'd been telling me, like, every time she goes to Costco, she sees them, like, They have 4 or 5 carts full of food. And groceries is going up. The whole, every week, the amount of money I spend on groceries is ridiculous. It wasn't like this a few months ago, and now it's getting worse. And for people who are just focus on what you got to do and don't worry about what's going on right now, it's like, how can you not? How can you not when, if you don't pay attention on what's going on, just at least a little bit, you're going to be a part of the problem. And that's why I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I just can't be super blinded and not be aware of the situation. That don't even sound right to me. Like, for an example, there was something that was on the news like maybe about a month ago, and I don't watch the news. This is the only time I've been watching the news just to like stay updated. And anyway, there was this there's this town in Michigan, like a small town, and the Chinese were going to bring in this electric car factory and whatnot, talking about they're gonna give like so many jobs and job opportunities and blah 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 blah. But the people in that town was just like, no, we don't want this. And the politicians in that town was just like, it's going to happen. So on voting day, they voted out the politicians that was going to bring this into their town, and they stopped. So as far as I know, they stopped the whole electric car factory from being brought in. And that's because they paid attention, they teamed up, and they did something about it. Now, if they stayed blind to what was about to happen, they would have had a factory coming in with this whole electric cars. And most likely, in my opinion, I don't think they would have hired the people in that area. They most likely would have hired their own. And I know this because they did that out here. The places that have been brought up by the Chinese, they usually hire their own. And I mean, it is what it is. And so far, I've been noticing a lot of Middle Eastern people. There's a lot of stores popping up like Daisy's, um, like their grocery stores and like that. And I never seen so many Middle Eastern stores popping up out of nowhere. And I think it's because the illegals that are coming across the borders, they're coming up here, they're meeting up with friends and family, whatever, and they have the money to open up these stores. Because I don't know, that's just what I think, because I've never seen so many stores pop up like Daisy's. Like, it's usually a mixture of like Caribbeans and the Americans and so on and so forth open up stores. Between the Middle Eastern people and the Chinese, like, there's this one block that the Chinese done bought up out here. And I think that's when people started noticing like what the heck is going on, and like kind of put a stop to it, because ever since maybe a few months back, I haven't really been seeing too many Chinese stores and whatnot being like built. And at one point, I saw a lot of real estate in their names, and I was just like, since when? Is usually I usually see like whites or blacks, but I was just like, okay, something's going on. There's been a lot of land for sale, even more than before, and it's like in small tight places. Like one of the things that Staten Islanders we do take pride of is that we're the borough of parks. Like, we have a lot of green space out here, so I've been seeing a lot of like land for sale in like these tight places where they're trying to build as much as they can, and I'm like, why? And I think they're trying to build more houses, or I mean apartments or whatever, to bring in these housing programs for these illegals, just in my opinion. And they're really trying it. And I'm just like, okay, how can you be blind to everything that's going on? Like, you'll be a part of the problem. And the last thing I want to say is the fact that, how can I say this in the best way possible? So there's a lot of men coming across the borders, more so than women and children. And I hang around a lot of guys. I hang around more guys than women. And, I'm cool with a lot of dudes. So it's not nothing, she for the streets. No, I'm just cool with a lot of guys. And I see how they get when they're in their drought season and they haven't got none in so long. No offense. Or like I see how they get when they really like someone and they just stop thinking and they just start doing the most. So with these men coming over here, a lot of these migrants, they be looking for wives. And last year, some he's not an illegal migrant. He came out here way before all of this has happened, and he has his visa and all that, but he doesn't have his citizenship or whatever. And he he tried to propose to me at our job, and I was just like, because he liked me, but I was just like, what the heck? Like, no. And he wouldn't take no for an answer. He really wanted to marry me, and he was just telling me his goals and everything that he has in mind and where he wants to move to and all that stuff. But not until where he saw me walking around with this guy, this big buff dude who he assumed was my boyfriend, that's when he stopped. But I'm saying this because they be pressuring girls. Like, they're not looking for girlfriends, they're looking for wives. And the ones who are here already, that's what they've been looking for. And these illegals that are coming out here, I know that's what is going to be, that's what's going to happen. There's going to be more illegals just like trying it. And I'm saying this because I think I already know a couple who are, I don't want to put nobody's business out there, but I feel like I know one who's dating a Chinese spy because it's not adding up, and he married her way too quick. And he has a lot of money too. He got her out of the project, so she was just like, so there's that. And then I'm not gonna say the rest, but I think that's what's going to happen, on top of a lot of grape cases, because I don't know, guys just, it depends. Not every guy's like this. There's a lot of good men out there. So I'm not trying to talk shit about men, but there are some men out there who don't have control over their sex, you know what I mean? They just don't have no control, and they start doing things like raping women and stuff like that. So that's something to like look out for. But that's just this is just what I'm observing. And like I said throughout this video, I don't think anybody should be blind to what's going on. At least be on the lookout. And if you have to, if they are trying to bring shelters into your community and stuff like that, it is important to like start talking to your neighbors and teaming up and put together things to not have that happen, because that's what happened out here. Like, back in August, September, I saw a lot of people just gathering around at parks, just talking and stuff like that. And I never saw it at that type of like capacity, just like a group of men just talking and whatnot. And I'm just like, what's going on? And then there was like a whole big uproar like a month later. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. Just don't be blinded. And oh yeah, one more thing. To the people who are like, who are trying to play too nice, who are saying things like, oh, there was crime already happening in America and you're being XYZ, racist, whatever. First of all, no. Um, just because there was crime already here doesn't mean we want more crime. And just because we're protecting our communities, that doesn't make us racist or colorist.